Hi, we are from Group 52 and we will be covering about the collapse of Hotel New World from 1986. Before we begin, let me introduce our members. First, we have our group leader Muthathal from Chemical Engineering. Then we have Ahmad Faris from Electrical Engineering, myself, Saiful Aiman from Mechanical Engineering, and finally, Hanifa from Chemical Engineering.
Hotel New World, or the Lian Yak building, collapsed suddenly in 1986, killing 33 people. Investigation revealed not just technical design flaws, but also serious ethical violations. This case highlights how both engineering accuracy and professional integrity are vital for public safety.
So, to understand the collapse of Hotel New World, we need to look at its history. Built in 1971, the six-story building had a bank, nightclub, and hotel rooms. Over time, extra weight was added, like AC units and water tanks. But no structural checks were done. The timeline of the collapse was as follows. On March 15, 1986, strange noises were heard in the morning, and by 11:25 a.m., the building collapsed. Emergency teams responded quickly and was able to rescue 9 people by midnight. Rescue efforts continued over the next few days using tunneling and cut-and-lift methods. By March 18th, the final survivor was rescued, 83 hours after the collapse. In total, 17 people were saved, and by the end of the rescue operation on the 21st of March, 33 lives were lost. Investigations revealed serious design flaws. Columns were overstressed, dead load weren't considered, and drawings were done by unqualified draftsmen. There were also no independent checks at the time, allowing for all these problems to go unnoticed until disaster struck. There were several achievements that was worth mentioning throughout the incident. The response was swift and extensive. More than 500 rescue personnel were mobilized to reach survivors. This event also led to the formation of a specialized rescue unit, the Disaster Assistance and Rescue Team, or DART, under the SCDF. The incident led to updates to the Building Control Act, requiring certified checks and regular inspection. These changes also helped Singapore's response in future crises.
The collapse of Hotel New World in 1986 happened in under a minute, but the causes had been building for years. Let's go through these 5 key technical failures that led to this tragedy. First is the design miscalculation. The structure engineer completely omitted the dead load, the building's own weight. Columns were overloaded from the start and later additions only made it worse. The structure was simply under-designed. Second, no design verification. There was no peer review or audit of the structure drawings. Critical elements like column sizing and the load assumption were never checked, and major errors slipped straight into the construction. Third is the progressive collapse. Collapse begin with column 26 and also 32 cracking under stress. Their loads transferred to the other weak column, leading to a chain reaction. Despite visible cracks and vibration, no actions were taken. Fourth, poor construction work. Site investigation found misaligned columns, missing bars, and concrete strength below 21 Newton per millimeter square, even as low as 16.4. Marine clay contamination and poor workmanship made the structure even weaker. Lastly, no monitoring or maintenance. There were no structural checks after completion. Even after modification, warning signs like cracks were ignored, and no preventive maintenance was ever carried out.
Let's look at the ethical reasons behind the failure. First, the design was done by an unqualified draftsman, violating the Professional Engineer Act, which mandates that only licensed engineers can perform safety critical work. Second and third, there was a fundamental calculation error. The engineer completely omitted the dead load of the building. This oversight, combined with the undersized columns, shows a serious lack of diligence, breaching engineer critical codes. Fourth, cost was prioritized over safety. Low-grade concrete was chosen to cut costs, ignoring the principle of public safety over profit. Lastly, there was no independent review, no accredited checker, weak regulatory oversight, and poor enforcement. These ethical failures show that beyond technical errors, neglecting professional responsibility can be fatal.
For the recommendation to prevent future problems, first is mandatory engagement of licensed professional engineers for structural design. Second one is legal requirement for independent design verification by accredited checkers. And the third one is compulsory site supervision by engineers during construction. And the fourth one is scheduled structural safety assessment for existing building. Next, fifth is strength quality control and enforcement of construction standards. Six is increased enforcement authority for regulatory bodies. And the last one is compulsory site supervision by engineers during construction.
To conclude, the collapse of Hotel New World stemmed from a failure to comply with the Professional Engineers Act, where design work was done by an unqualified draftsman and critical dead load calculations were omitted. This, along with cost-cutting and lack of supervision, violated the Code of Professional Conduct and Ethics, placing public safety at a risk. To prevent future incidents, strict enforcement of the Engineers Act, independent accredited checks, and stronger ethics education must be upheld.